Yeah, I held hands with a girl, and I hated it! Oh my goodness. Okay, look, this is a fairly normal story compared to my usual shenanigans, so this one's going to be a little bit of a break, alright? Still though, pretty interesting, pretty fun, so let's just jump into it. Our story begins fall of last year. I transferred to a new college, and stuff was pretty cool. I was trying to navigate this new campus and, figure out a bunch of new stuff, and I ended up meeting this one girl in one of my classes, okay? At that time, we basically shared, like, every single class with each other, so I thought that I'd at least, like, get to know her or something, you know what I mean? Because I didn't really have any friends in college, like at all starting out, so I wanted to meet new people and everything. And she seemed like, she was fairly quiet and everything, so I thought, you know, like, maybe I'm gonna talk to her, you know what I mean? She looked fairly unintimidating, she was really, really short, I think she was like 5'2" or something. But yeah, basically like the entire like semester, I barely even spoke to her like at all. Until eventually in one of our classes, I overheard her, like, she mentioned that she was into cosplaying and that she dressed up as Zelda at Comic-Con. So I thought to myself, oh, well, maybe she likes video games, huh? A gamer girl. Oh, hey. Always a joy to talk to people like that, right? So the next day, I walk up to her in the morning during our class. It was like at 9:30 in the morning. I ask her, like, what kind of games she liked to play. And dude, she only plays Zelda. Like, that's like the only freaking game that she plays. And for the next like 2 hours or something, she talked to me nonstop about just Zelda. She also vented to me about like loads of like traumatic events from her childhood and crazy surgeries she had, and also her interest in art and fan fiction. Now, art and fan fiction, by that I mean specifically the variety that has to do with yaoi, okay? She would not stop talking to me about her favorite ships between underage boys in anime. And, you know, I was just kind of like, oh, okay. I mean, I'm not really the biggest fan of yaoi personally, but hey man, to each their own. And then she's like, oh well, it's hot. Something she literally said to me during our first conversation, by the way. And, you know, from that first chat, I nicknamed her the yaoi girl. So every single time I talked to somebody about her, it was always the yaoi girl said this, the yaoi girl said that, okay? And since this first conversation, we started talking a lot, okay? Now look, obviously with a name like the yaoi girl, she was pretty freaking weird. I'm pretty sure you probably gathered that. Now, you know, she's weird, but at the same time, it was really hard to tell if it was like the charming type of weird or just like actually like borderline crazy weird. Like, it's very, very strange. Like, she always had some crazy thing to say about fictional men she liked or something. She wouldn't stop talking about Nick Wilde from Zootopia. She wouldn't stop talking about characters from My Hero Academia. She wouldn't stop talking about, again, her favorite underage ships, her favorite problematic Yume ships, or whatever the heck, bro. I don't even freaking know. It was weird talking to her, man. And in class, she went from being completely silent, like normal from the beginning of the semester, to always wanting to pair up with me for group work, and she always wanted to talk to me, everything like that. And in the middle of class, I just kept on like noticing her just like staring at me from the other side of the room. It's kind of weird. All right, I swear also that like I'm not dense, by the way. Like, I could usually take a hint, but you know, it made me uncomfortable. Okay, out of like the corner of my eye or something, I just like freaking feel her like her female gaze penetrating through the side of my head, bro, and it made me wildly uncomfortable. Okay, and you know, at this point, I kind of just thought, oh yeah, she probably just doesn't have a lot of friends, and honestly, that's okay. Like, I thought, you know, it can't be that big of a deal. You know, maybe she just doesn't have anyone to talk to. Okay? And I thought, you know what, that's okay. Alright, that's alright. You know, nothing wrong with that. Alright. I thought, you know, maybe this is just a situation where I just need to get to know her better, and maybe I'll find out that, you know, maybe she is just kind of awkward, okay? And she'll learn to be more comfortable around me, and, you know, we're gonna be the bestest of friends, okay? So, there were a few times that I tried to get to know her better by either inviting her over for a cookout or something, or, you know, there were also a few times that I asked her, like, hey, do you want to watch anime with me? Because I knew that she was into anime. I mean, judging by the whole yaoi thing or whatever. Of course, I wasn't going to watch yaoi with her. That would be problematic. Now, she'd always turn down my offers, okay? So, eventually, I kind of just decided to, like, back down a bit. But, you know, she didn't really back down. She was, like, all over me, practically, and she always wanted to talk to me in class, out of class. In in between classes. It was just like all the freaking time. Like I could not get away from her. So eventually we passed by that semester and we're in the spring semester. Yay! Okay. And this time around, she needs a ride. Okay. Because she doesn't have a driver's license. Okay. I decide to drive her home that day. All right. Me personally, look, I got a problem with just saying no. It's like, if I can do it, I will do it if you ask me. Okay. I don't know. I consider myself a bit of a selfless person. I oftentimes like just do crap for people without expecting anything in return. That's not exactly a bad thing. I don't know why I'm saying it like it's a bad thing per se. It's just like sometimes I will do stuff for people even if I know for a fact that I don't really like want to do it per se. I just like kind of do it because I'm afraid of saying no and someone like abandoning me or something because of my hecking wholesome trauma and this and that and whatever the heck. So after this first ride home or whatever, she, I guess, started realizing that, like, oh yeah, like, this guy, he does not say no ever. And I don't think it was, like, I think it was more of a subconscious thing. But she started asking me, like, nearly 3 times a week until the end of the semester. Now, during these drives, okay, she would yap my ear off. Oh my goodness. She just would not stop talking. I said she'd talk about Yahi, she'd talk about her favorite movies, she'd talk about this and that, etc., etc. And we had so many fascinating conversations, okay? At one point, we were having a conversation about, let's just say, dresses, okay? We were talking about clothing and fashion and everything, and some way or another, we ended up talking about maid dresses, okay? And me, being the little Albert Einstein I was, decided I'd mention the fact that my sister was going to make me wear a maid dress to the Amazing Digital Circus movie. Now, that didn't end up happening, okay? Because she didn't want to pay for it, and I was thinking like, oh, okay, well, at this point, I'm not going to buy myself a maid dress because then, you know, no one's really forcing me to do it anymore. I'm just buying a freaking maid dress, okay? Like, I don't know. That'd be a lot more embarrassing. But I mentioned that to her. It became like a weird hyperfixation of hers where she just would not stop talking about the fact that I was going to be wearing a maid dress around, let's just say, mutuals, people in our classes, for instance, and would not stop talking about the fact that she was going to quote-unquote need those photos when I was done with it or something. And I don't know how to feel about that, okay? Now, again, I'm sort of thinking, okay, you know, we are, you know, just driving around or whatever, right? And I'm getting to know her a little bit, you know what I mean? And, you know, one-on-one, it wasn't really that bad. If it was just me and her, it felt like we were okay, you know, we were acquaintances, and it didn't feel like there was really any sort of, like, tension going on between us or whatever. We just had a lot of stupid conversations about a lot of stupid things, and, of course, she was awkward, okay? But there wasn't, like, another person there. There wasn't, like, a third party who I felt like I had to be careful about. So I decided, okay, yeah, like, you could come over if you want to. And eventually, you know, she agrees. She's gonna come over for a cookout. Great, Wonder Bar, right? So I invite her over and a couple of my other friends, and we ended up going for a walk. And the entire time, she's just completely dead silent. I tried to involve her a few times, but she just kind of, like, wouldn't budge. It wasn't until, like, halfway through our walk that she actually said anything. Eventually, we get to this part where there's, like, this train track, and there's, like, this ditch or something that we had to go down. She's, like, really, really scared, okay? She does not want to go down this ditch, and that's, like, kind of the shortcut. We either go down this ditch, or we walk for, like, 5 minutes to go around it, and it's just, like, kind of wasting time. It's kind of warm outside, so whatever, right? I just offered to hold her hand on the way down. Ah! Okay, sorry. She agrees, okay? I don't know why I said that, dude. I have no idea why I offered to hold her hand. We should have just gone around. It wouldn't have been that big of a deal, but whatever. She agrees, okay? You know, I hold her hand on the way down or whatever, and my other 2 friends are quiet. They're completely silent, and they're just looking at me dead in the eyes thinking, bro, this guy's holding a girl's hand. Oh, the horror, right? And on the way back, we do the exact same thing to get her up the ditch. Now, at the time, I wasn't really thinking anything of it, okay? Now, I do admit, okay, that may have come off as a bit weird. It might have come off as, you know, maybe I was leading her on or something, but at the same time, holding hands doesn't have to be weird, does it? But, you know, next day at school, right? Next day at school on a Monday, we ends up meeting up again, okay? We're, like, waiting on like this stairwell or whatever in order to get into our next class, she just keeps on like subtly mentioning the fact that we held hands and emphasizing the fact that if we're gonna do that again, she'll need to hold someone's hand. Like, yeah, she kept on saying that, like practically verbatim. She's going to need to hold someone's hand again. And, you know, I was kind of like, yeah, I mean, I guess, like, sure, yeah. And I mean, look, she's really awkward, okay? So I kind of just went along with it thinking, like, yeah, it's not really that weird, okay? But this wasn't the end, okay? Like, it keeps going, alright? The title of the video is that he held hands with the girl, and I hated it, but it just keeps on going, dude. Another time we were hanging out as a group, okay? We were playing a bit of video games, we were playing some Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and I ended up beating her in the game. And as a result, she got playfully angry, okay? And what exactly do I mean by that? I'm glad you asked. Well, she grabbed a pillow, she got on top of me, and she smothered me with it. That was a bit of a problematic media situation, and I overheard my two friends say to themselves, "Love is in the air." And at that point, I'm thinking like, okay, enough is enough. No means no. And I just kind of pushed her off and was like, okay, we're not doing this, okay? Now look, dude, I ain't exactly a genius when it comes to this sort of stuff, when it comes to relationships, but that's not exactly just something you do. Okay, like it's gotta be crossing some sort of like invisible boundary that like everyone kind of has like pre-built into their noggins. Like that's not just something you freaking do, okay? And you know, look, in addition to our weird hangouts and everything, at school, like she was really weird too, okay? So for instance, okay, she followed me on Instagram, right? Now on Instagram, I repost a lot of stuff, normally ironically, okay, but the main stuff I normally repost are like pictures of like furries cuddling, and normally I like repost with some caption like me and my homeboy / platonic, or you know, me and my oomphy, something stupid like that, okay? And the reason why I do it is because I just think it's funny, okay? Now, of course, there is always like a bit of truth to every joke, don't get me wrong, but you know, generally speaking, the main thing I'm thinking is this is funny, okay? This is not that weird. And so, you know, we're at school, and she just randomly says something like, "I saw what you reposted, and I just wish more people could just cuddle as friends." Okay, that's an inside thought. Yeah, like at this point, I was already kind of losing my fondness and patience for her. It's like, dude, we're just waiting in line to get a freaking coffee. It's like 9 in the freaking morning. What do you need from me, man? It's like, it's just so weird. And look, I don't want to get too specific, okay, but I just really didn't like her for a variety of reasons, but it was mainly just, you know, her sense of humor and, you know, the overall, like, mixed signals I was getting from her. She was so freaking ambiguous, and it just didn't make any sense to me, okay? I kind of got the premonition that it's like, she might have been into me, but, like, dude, I did not want to cuddle with this woman. I can tell you that for certain, okay? Definitely not. However, I will say, alright, that during our countless car rides, she talked a lot about romantic things. Oh, yes, she did. She had that sort of weird sense of humor that some girls have where they, like, jokingly say that we're in a relationship, which, you know, isn't all that bad in a lot of cases, but in her case, it just felt like really forced and weird, okay? Like, I could do that with my guy friends all the time, but it's because we, like, clearly don't want each other, and we clearly don't want to, like, rub our hands all up and down each other's body seductive style, okay? Like, it's pretty freaking obvious. But, you know, she told me a lot about what she wanted in a relationship, and what's scary is that it's exactly what I wanted, too. We both had the same quote-unquote limits, if that makes sense, okay? You know, I said I called her the Yaoi girl earlier, which, I mean, I definitely still call her today, but, like, she told me specifically that she was apparently asexual, which I guess is a thing. Like, you can read yaoi and be asexual. I guess, okay, whatever, I'm not going to argue with it. Like, I'm also asexual, okay? So we agreed on a lot when it came to relationships, okay? Still, though, I just really didn't like her, okay? Like, not like that, all right? I thought that she was, like, kind of a friend, but at the same time, she was just so awkward and weird to be around, and it was so bad, and it was traumatic, and sorry. I'm currently in the process of trying to distance myself from this yaoi girl character a bit because she just takes so much energy to be around, man. I'm not even sure how many more chances I'm going to get with girls, okay? I'm not even certain. At this point, I might as well just have to go for a freaking guy or something because, look, man, I don't even know if it has to be a romantic thing. I just need someone I can get close to and not have it be this freaking weird, bro. Like, I don't even know, man. Like, I'm not even exactly sure if I'm aromantic or not. I'd say I don't really care about like traditional romance too much. I'm probably more after more of a woke buzzword alert queer platonic relationship, which is apparently a super popular term that a lot of asexuals use. Like, I don't really know though. Okay, dude, listen. Girls are just complicated a lot of times. It's not that I don't understand them. It's just I don't want to take chances and guess wrong and then be put on trial for harassment and then be sentenced to castration via 9,999-degree molten dagger or something, dude. I don't know, man. They're complicated, dude. They're a lot. They take a lot of energy, and a lot of girls have hurt me in the past, and I just don't know what to do about it. In all seriousness, no. Like, I don't know, dude. I know what I want, but everyone who wants what I want is weird, okay? Look, okay, I know that's fancy coming from me or whatever. Well, I don't want to get into it right now, but if you want to know what I mean, just click on my channel and scroll through my other somewhat questionable videos, and you'll immediately get what I mean. Whatever. Okay, this has gone on for long enough. Maybe I'll make a part 2 if there are any developments, but for now, I am just going to cut it short right there, okay? Moral of the story! Alright, listen, learn to just say no sometimes, okay? And don't hang out with people if you really don't want to, okay? That's my key takeaway. If you have anything else that you could possibly get from this video, then, amen. The eye of the beholder. Anywho, though, thank you very much for embarking on this magical little journey with me. I do want to mention that I have a Discord server if you want to join. The link is in the description. Additionally, take a look-see here. We got some Gato Finglo fan art. Ooh, mama, this stuff is freaking amazing. Last but not least, I want to mention that I got a membership. You don't have to join it if you don't want to. It's $5 a month. It's just if you really feel like if you want to support me, then you can. Only if you want to, though. I would never force anything on you. Consent is everything, you know? Whatever. Okay. Anywho, though, I guess I will end it there. So, without further ado, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye! Okay, good puppy. Alright.